Welcome back to the garage. It's been a little over a year since I bought this US General Series 3 56-inch tool chest from Harbor Freight, and now that I've got a few miles on it, I thought it might be good to do an update video to let you guys know my thoughts after a year of ownership and use. Now, just as a disclaimer to preface all of this, I'm not a review channel. I didn't really expect that last video to blow up like it did at my scale. This is not sponsored. I bought this thing with my own money as a birthday present last year. I'm just a guy. I'm not a mechanic by trade. I bought a vintage Jeep that needed a heck of a lot more work than I thought it did or was led to believe. So I ended up buying a ton of tools, including a few specialty tools, to bring it back to running and driving and fun condition, I guess. So with that out of the way, let's kind of jump into some of my thoughts on this. So to start out with, I have no major complaints, no real deal breakers, just a minor gripe here or two, but this thing has done everything I've asked of it, and it's done it well, and it's withstood a little bit of abuse along the way, so it's also a good time to start cleaning up from a few jobs that I've done lately, so we'll do that along the way too. I did put a vise on the corner. It's not bolted down or anything, but it comes in handy every once in a while, so it's there. But otherwise, the box is unmodified, aside from stickers everywhere, as usually happens with the garage toolbox. This top drawer has been just fine for your average hobbyist type person. It's got plenty of room for all of my regularly used tools. No real complaints there. I think a few people online have wished it was just a little bit deeper than it is, but in my experience so far, it's been just fine. I did have to immediately get on Amazon and pick up some little organizers for tools to keep wrenches and vice grips and stuff. I'm sure that Harbor Freight probably has something similar that they offer, so you can get them anywhere, but that's what I ended up with. Unfortunately, while doing a recent job helping a friend out with her Hyundai Santa Fe, I did lose my 12mm socket. It just fell and rolled somewhere, and I have no idea where it is. And it's funny because, if you're watching this video, you probably know how it usually goes. It's always the 10mm. That's why you have a rail of spare 10mm sockets laying around, because that 10mm is gonna disappear. This time it was the 12. I guess really the only complaint I have is this dinky little latch mechanism. It's plastic. It feels super cheap, and you could take it out and it just won't latch. But it's not a deal breaker. It's a thing, A next drawer down here is, I guess, a little bit shallow. There are a couple of other clamshell type cases that I'd like to have up here. I've got some of my more common bit sets and extractors. There's a couple that would be nice to have up here, but just a few drawers down is plenty more space. And this is fine for everything else that's semi-common, chunky wrenches, files, drivers and such. But outside of that, I'm not even really utilizing the space all that well because there's plenty more space in here. I'm missing a brass punch. Uh-oh. I'll find it later. When it comes to the charger drawer here, no real complaints. For my small scale stuff, all the little tools I've come across over the years, this thing has enough plugs in here for me. I could see that if you have, Ryobi, DeWalt, Makita, if you have a bunch of different tools in here that need different chargers, you might run out of room pretty quick. This thing does only have like 6 plugs on it. Actually, I guess that's 5 plus USB, but for my purposes, no complaints. The larger drawer here has been just fine for the majority of my tools. Got my woodworking iron in here. I keep forgetting that I have a place for this stuff. Here's the jigsaw I was looking for. It's funny that even after a year, it doesn't compute that, hey, I have a place for these, and they might actually be in their place. I wasn't really sure how these shorter drawers would work out, but it all worked out for me pretty well in the end. I get to keep all of my little pneumatic supplies in here. Some of my machining and precision type tools. I've got some 1, 2, 3 blocks and such. It's probably a good time to put up calipers. But yeah, most of the air tool supplies and fittings and such. And the meter for some reason, but that's about the only place it'll kind of fit in. And taps and dies just over here on the right, because they're the right height for this drawer, but that works out okay. The other one that's about that same height worked out pretty well for some of my woodworking tools. Even the hand plane over on the side and these 1700 and 1800 block planes, they fit in here nicely. All the $1 bench chisels from various flea markets that actually sharpened up pretty well and cut respectably after a good sharpening. They fit in here pretty well. The auger bits, because I do IT for a living, and sometimes I just want to turn off the electricity and use hand tools to build something, But all of that woodworking stuff did fit in here pretty well. As one does, I've got the bottom 2 drawers full of specialty and bulk specialty type stuff. I do vintage Jeep stuff, so I've got my pinion setting tool, the giant hub nut socket, this fantastic distributor wrench that'll unstick any stuck distributor, seal puller, other stuff, bearing pullers, brake flaring, the recently acquired caliper piston spreading tool from that Hyundai Santa Fe brake job, and my number punches over here. I love the vintage fonts on these number punches. It's just something you don't see these days anymore. These are like from the 30s and 40s, back when things were done in a fancy font. And then down here at the bottom, all the rest of the bulk specialty tools, that vintage Jeep hub puller that really came in handy, but I probably won't need again until I get another Jeep. Compression tester, some thread restoring tools, vacuum gauge, all the every once in a while type tools. It all fits down here. And I've got just a little bit more room to spare, actually, just for a couple other smaller sets if need be. So that about wraps it up. Kind of an off-the-cuff review / toolbox tour, I guess. Again, the sliding mechanism on these just feels kind of dinky and cheap, but it works just fine. It's not a deal breaker. And I've got a lot of weight up here in this top drawer, and the sliders are handling it just fine. I've even slammed this thing shut on a few occasions because I thought a tool was up here when in fact it was over there for some reason. And this thing has handled the abuse just fine. No complaints on any of the sliders. Really the only complaint I have is on me, because I have limited space in this garage. So I thought the 56-inch would be the ideal one for the space, when really it would have been nice, and I could have almost fit it just fine if I got the 72-inch chest for the extra drawers on the side, but I didn't. But Harbor Freight does have the little add-on chest you can order to make it mostly functionally equivalent storage-wise to the 72-inch chest. You just can't put a 72-inch chest hutch on top of it. But that is something I might end up getting at some point, is one of the add-on chests for the side, just for extra tool storage. and maybe a hutch for it at some point if I can eliminate the need for some of that shelving up there. It would be nice to have the hutch on here for the extra little pegboard storage and a place to put a laptop while I'm trying to read a service manual or figure something out, you know. But other than that, it's done everything I've asked of it, and it's worked out pretty well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later.